Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Carly's furious reaction to Drew, Willow, and Nina drama, Michael's mom strikes back. General Hospital, GH, spoilers reveal that Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, and Drew Quartermain's, Cameron Matheson, secret won't stay buried forever. Although Willow had hoped to put that kiss with Drew behind her, she can't stop fixating on her feelings for him. Even if Willow could move on, there's a problem now that James West, Gary James Fuller, is in the loop. James certainly got an earful when he eavesdropped on Willow and Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, while he was hiding out in the boathouse. Now James is probably going to spill the news of Willow's betrayal to Wiley Corinthos, Viron Weaver, who could fully expose the secret just in time for the upcoming Quartermain family dinner on August 30. Regardless, this secret is indeed going to spread eventually, so you can bet Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, will be furious when it does. Willow will inevitably have to face her mother-in-law's wrath, but Carly may mostly blame Drew under the circumstances. That's especially true if Carly also finds out Drew's been hooking up with Nina. Carly may think Drew is despicable for sleeping with Nina after she helped put him in prison and kissing her daughter too while he was at it. Of course, EA spoilers say Carly will be even angrier about the fact that Drew betrayed Michael, his own nephew. There will be so many levels of wrong as far as Carly's concerned, so she'll surely rip into Drew with everything she's got. Carly might find other ways to make Drew pay eventually, but she can start by putting him on full blast and demanding an explanation. Drew crossed the line big time, so he'll face some backlash and could ruin his own political run if a scandal breaks out regarding all this. Are you eager to see Carly turn against Drew for coming between Willow and Michael? Will Michael and Willow be able to fix their marriage once the secret comes to light? General Hospital spoilers say Willow and Drew will have to deal with some consequences soon enough, so stick with us for more predictions on the fallout and updates on where the story will go next. Carly Corinthos had faced many battles in her life, but this one was different. This time, the battlefield wasn't the mob world, where she had become a hardened strategist. Instead, it was the complex and emotionally charged world of family, loyalty, and betrayal, territory she was all too familiar with. As she stood in the kitchen of her house, her mind raced with the news she had just learned. Drew, the man she had grown so close to, and Willow, the young woman she had come to care for like a daughter, were entangled in a web of secrets and lies with none other than Nina Reeves, the woman Carly despised more than anyone. Carly's heart pounded in her chest as the realization hit her like a freight train. Drew, who had always been the steady, reliable presence in her life, had kept something monumental from her. Worse yet, Willow, sweet and innocent Willow, had been drawn into Nina's orbit, a woman Carly believed was nothing but trouble. As she paced the kitchen, her anger simmered just below the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment. The betrayal felt personal. Drew had known how much Carly hated Nina, how deeply she resented the woman for everything she had done, from keeping Sonny's survival a secret to trying to steal her family away. And yet Drew had chosen to keep her in the dark about his dealings with Willow and Nina. The more Carly thought about it, the angrier she became. How could he do this to her? How could he side with them, of all people? Carly grabbed her phone and scrolled through her contacts, her finger hovering over Drew's name. She wanted to call him, to demand an explanation, to make him feel the full force of her wrath. But something held her back. Maybe it was the fear of what he might say, the confirmation that he had indeed betrayed her trust. Or perhaps it was the realization that confronting him now, while she was this angry, would only lead to more damage. She needed to calm down, to think this through. But that was easier said than done. Instead, Carly's thoughts turned to Willow. The young woman had been through so much already, battling cancer and fighting to stay strong for her family. Carly had admired Willow's resilience, her quiet strength in the face of adversity. But now, knowing she had aligned herself with Nina, Carly felt a deep sense of disappointment. How could Willow, of all people, trust someone like Nina? Carly couldn't understand it. She couldn't reconcile the sweet, brave young woman she had come to know with someone who would make such a terrible choice. And then there was Michael. Carly's heart ached as she thought of her son. Michael had always been her pride and joy, her greatest accomplishment. But he had also inherited her stubbornness, her tendency to act first and think later. Carly knew how much Michael loved Willow, how he would do anything to protect her. But what would he do if he found out about this secret alliance? Carly could only imagine the devastation it would cause him, the way it would rip his world apart. The thought of her son being hurt, being betrayed by the people he loved, made Carly's blood boil. The kitchen felt too small, too confining. Carly needed air, needed to clear her head. She grabbed her coat and headed for the door, her mind still racing. As she walked through the streets of Port Charles, the cool evening air did little to calm her nerves. Everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of the life she had built, the family she had fought so hard to protect. And now it felt like it was all slipping through her fingers. Carly knew she couldn't let this go. She couldn't stand by and watch as her family was torn apart by lies and deceit. She had to do something, had to take action. But what? Confronting Drew was one option, but Carly wasn't sure she was ready for that. And confronting Willow. Carly wasn't sure she could bring herself to do that either. Willow was like a daughter to her, and the thought of hurting her, of making her feel worse than she already did, was almost too much to bear. But Carly also knew she couldn't let this fester. The longer she waited, the worse it would get. She had to confront the truth, no matter how painful it was. As she walked, Carly's mind started to form a plan. She would talk to Drew first, get his side of the story. Maybe there was an explanation, something that would make this all make sense. But Carly doubted it. She had a sinking feeling that this was exactly what it looked like, a betrayal. As for Willow, Carly would have to tread carefully. She didn't want to push the young woman away, but she also couldn't let her continue down this path. Carly would have to find a way to get through to her, to make her see Nina for who she really was. And if that meant playing hardball, Carly was more than willing to do it. She had fought for her family before, and she would do it again, no matter what it took. Carly's thoughts turned to Nina, the woman who had caused so much pain and heartache in her life. Carly had tried to warn everyone about her, had tried to make them see the truth. But time and time again, people had given Nina the benefit of the doubt, had believed her lies and manipulations. Well, not this time. Carly was done playing nice. If Nina wanted a fight, she was going to get one. By the time Carly returned home, her anger had settled into a cold, steely determination. She knew what she had to do, and she wasn't going to back down. Drew, Willow, and Nina might think they had the upper hand, but they had underestimated Carly Corinthos. She had been through too much, had survived too many battles, to let this one destroy her family. The next morning, Carly made her move. She called Drew and asked him to come over. Her voice was calm, controlled, giving nothing away. She would let him explain himself, let him try to justify what he had done. But Carly already knew what she was going to do. If Drew couldn't give her a damn good reason for his actions, she would cut him out of her life, just like she had with others who had betrayed her. She couldn't afford to let anyone, not even someone she cared about, jeopardize her family's future. When Drew arrived, Carly didn't waste any time. She laid it all out, the anger, the hurt, the betrayal. Drew tried to explain, tried to justify his actions, But Carly wasn't having it. She had heard enough excuses, enough lies. This was about trust, and Drew had shattered that trust. By the time he left, Carly knew that things would never be the same between them. Next, Carly turned her attention to Willow. That conversation was harder, more emotional. Willow was visibly shaken, her eyes pleading with Carly to understand. But Carly couldn't condone what Willow had done. She couldn't let her get away with aligning herself with Nina. Carly tried to be gentle, tried to make Willow see the truth without completely breaking her spirit. But it was clear that their relationship had been damaged, perhaps beyond repair. And then there was Nina. Carly didn't bother with a phone call. She knew that this confrontation had to be face-to-face, that Nina needed to see the full force of her fury. When Carly arrived at the Metro Court, she walked straight up to Nina, her eyes blazing with anger. The words that followed were sharp, cutting, designed to wound. Carly made it clear that she would stop at nothing to protect her family, that she would do whatever it took to make sure Nina never hurt them again. As she walked away from the confrontation, Carly felt a sense of satisfaction, but also a deep sadness. She had done what she had to do, had protected her family the only way she knew how. But in the process, she had lost people she cared about, had damaged relationships that might never be repaired. This was the cost of being Carly Corinthos, the price she paid for always putting her family first. But as she looked out over the city of Port Charles, Carly knew that she wouldn't have it any other way.